Just before we start this next video, just make sure that you go back to the library and download another version of the geometry.dwg file so that you've got a blank rectangle like you can see on the screen at the moment. That'll make your life a lot easier as you work through this particular video. Once again, we're staying in the geometry.dwg file, and we're going to look at some other drafting settings now, which are polar and also ortho. Now, polar allows you to draw lines to specific angle increments. Ortho ties you to orthogonal angles, which are basically in the X and Y direction, so up and down and left and right. Let's have a look at polar tracking first and see how that works. Now, bear in mind we've already got our object snaps and our object snap tracking on. They're here from the previous video, like so. Polar is here. I'm going to click on the flyout for it, and I'm going to change the angle to 45 degrees, like so. Now, if I click on that flyout again and go to tracking settings, you'll notice that I can add any additional angles I want to as well, and I can change the increments there too if I wish. I'll OK that now, and my angles are now set at 45 degree increments. So let's have a look at how that works when we draw a line. So as usual, Home tab on the ribbon and Draw panel, like the previous video, click on the line command, and we're going to come into the drawing area and hover here. There's an endpoint snap there, and I'm going to left click. Now you'll notice as I drag the mouse, can you see the green dashed line appear? That's my polar tracking line. And if you look, the polar value for that is 315 degrees. If you look just above that, the dynamic input is telling me it's a 45 degree angle from the horizontal. Now, the benefit I have is I can utilize my object snap tracking here as well. If I come and hover over this midpoint here, and then just drag it out horizontally like so, as soon as I hit that 45 degrees, can you see I get an intersection? So I've got an exact 45 degree line coming from that corner, coming down and lining in with the midpoint of the vertical side of the rectangle. So if I left click there and then continue down here to this end point, you'll notice, can you see there, I'm getting an exact 45 degree angle each way. I left click again, enter to finish, and I've drawn those two lines at 45 degrees, utilizing that 45 degree increment in the polar tracking. I've also utilized a little bit of object snap tracking there as well. Now, ortho cannot work in conjunction with polar. Let me show you what I mean. If I come down to the status bar, there's polar tracking. It's on at the moment. You can see it's blue. There's ortho there. If I switch ortho on by left clicking on it, can you see polar tracking turns off? And the reason it does that is because now I'm locked into 90 degree increments orthogonally using the ortho setting. So let's go back to our line command on the draw panel. Line command here. If I now go to this midpoint here and click and move across, you'll notice as I move up and down, can you see I cannot move that line? It can only go horizontally, or if I come down, can you see vertically? So horizontally, vertically, up or down, or horizontally again. And that's what ortho does. It ties you into those 90 degree orthogonal increments. So I can come across here, go to the midpoint there, left click, enter to finish. If I draw another line now and go from, say, this midpoint here, you'll notice as I come down, I cannot go left and right. I can only go horizontally left and right and vertically up and down. So I come down to the midpoint, click again, and enter to finish the line command. So you can see the difference there between polar tracking and ortho, or orthogonal as it's sometimes known. Orthogonal is very rigid. You can only go up, down, left and right. That's it. No deviations at all. Polar tracking, though, you can set specific angle increments and work to them in your AutoCAD drawings.